What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 13-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. It's Friday the 13th, so you know it's going to be a freaky Friday of MLB games, so let's get a little positivity in our lives right now, and please like this video. And if you want to win a free month of Osmo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. And Wednesday, our last Four Corners video, somebody did in fact get it right, so I'll announce that winner a bit later on, but for right now, if you want to win that free month, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. But as always, let's get on to our first corner of the top pitching on today's slate, and Garrett Cole against the Kansas City Royals is going to be the top owned option industry-wide. Cole gets 3 implied runs against him, which are slate low, and he'll be number 1 on DraftKings with 33% expected ownership, number 1 on FanDuel with 18%, and he'll also be number 1 on Yahoo with 35%. Cole is up to a 39.4% K rate on the year with a 0.9 whip and a 2.5 xFIP, so even versus a passable Kansas City lineup with a 24.1% K rate and 6 guys over a 101 WRC+, Cole looks like an easy top play at pitcher today. Kansas City has started to hit a little bit more down the stretch, but Garrett Cole is a possible Cy Young winner and a really elite pitcher. Looks like he's in a great spot and he's worth paying a premium for today. Max Scherzer versus Atlanta should also find some ownership with a 3.8 implied runs against him. Scherzer will be number 2 owned on FanDuel with 18% and on Yahoo with 30%, while he'll be number 3 on DraftKings with 22%. Scherzer has been almost as good as Cole when healthy with a 35% K rate and a 2.9 xFIP, but Atlanta's 23.1% K rate versus right-hand pitching with a lot more dangerous power makes him hard to go to over Cole today. Scherzer has been very good and he's a logical price point pivot to Cole, but the spot is a tougher one versus Atlanta, and Cole's stuff has been a bit better on the year overall. And Tyler Beede versus Miami should also find some ownership with the 3.8 implied runs against him. Beede will be number 2 owned on DraftKings at 29%, number 3 on FanDuel at 17%, and number 5 on Yahoo at 22%. Beede is a mediocre, teetering on bad pitcher with a 21% K rate and a 193 ISO allowed, but in a pitching-friendly park going against Miami's 126 ISO and 25.3% K rate versus right-hand pitching, he does look solid for his price point. Chalk Tyler Beede days on the year have not been the best, but it still looks like a really nice spot for him in a pitching-friendly park against the Miami team who's really hapless here versus righties down the stretch. And now onto our next corner, the top stacks on the slate. The San Diego stack versus Jeff Hoffman is going to be the number 1 team today. San Diego gets 6.3 implied runs, and Hoffman struggles massively with power with a 268 ISO and a 13% barrel ball rate along with a 1.7 whip. San Diego has big potential today at Coors. San Diego's projected lineup today isn't great with only Manny Machado over 200 ISO, but Hoffman is so bad that San Diego's value pricing is impossible to ignore. San Diego is not a great hitting team on paper, but they're in Coors against the pitcher who gives up a ton of power. This is a spot where I'm willing to trust San Diego at decent volume today. And a Colorado stack versus Joey Lucchesi should also be owned a bit with 6.3 implied runs for them. Lucchesi has been solid with a 1.2 whip, but his 196 ISO allowed to right-handed batters while mostly pitching in San Diego offers a lot of opportunity now that he's going to be in Coors today. Trevor Story and Nolan Arenado's massive splits versus left-hand pitching with them at a 288 and 336 ISO respectively make them look like a solid but very chalky mini stack along with San Diego today. These Colorado hitters are going to be chalky, but it's still a spot where I think it's a decent one here against Lucchesi, who's been good, but also getting a really big park downgrade heading into Coors. And an Oakland stack versus Brock Burke should also find some ownership with 6.3 implied runs for them as well. Burke allows a 200 ISO to right-handed batters in a limited sample size, and now he's in 92-degree Texas heat versus a power-packed Oakland lineup. Oakland is a decently priced pivot to Coors with a 211 ISO and just a 19.2% K rate versus left-hand pitching in 2019. Oakland has shown their power upside on the year in a much worse power park at Houston. The spot should be a good one for them in another really hot Texas day. And now into our next corner, the lower owned options on the slate, and the Seattle stack versus Dylan Covey interests me a bit. Seattle gets 5.2 implied runs, and Covey has shown signs of life, but he's been battered by left-handed batters on the year with a 1.8 whip and a 5-point xFIP as well as a 192 ISO. Seattle projects to roll out 6 lefties and has a 195 ISO as well as a somewhat concerning 25.9% K rate versus right-hand pitching this year. Seattle is not a bankable team. They have a lot of decent lefties here going against Covey, who's actually struggled quite a bit versus lefties. The spot could be a decent one for them, even though Covey, again, has shown some improvement recently. And Adam Wainwright versus Milwaukee also looks interesting with a 3.7 implied runs against him. Wainwright thrives versus right-handed batters with a 1.1 whip and a 3.4 xFIP, so in a pitching-friendly park, if he survives the lefties, he could be a solid value today. No Christian Yelich and the park makes Milwaukee much more appealing to go against, despite some concern with Wainwright's 185 ISO and 1.8 whip allowed to left-handed batters. Wainwright isn't great, but he's at a reasonable price and he projects well, so I'm willing to go to him today, even though those lefties from Milwaukee could be appealing if Wainwright's ownership does take a jump upwards. A Houston stack versus Danny Duffy also looks interesting with the 6 implied runs for them. Houston brings a 226 ISO and an 18% K rate on the year going against the mediocre Duffy, who has a 5.2 xFIP and a 20% K rate. Kansas City's park limits power, but Houston projects for the biggest differential between ownership and chances to be a top stack on the slate. Houston is the best hitting team versus both lefties and righties, and Duffy is not a great pitcher at all. The spot looks like a good one to go to Houston at not much ownership expect, and Adrian Hauser at St. Louis looks interesting with the 4.3 implied runs against him. It could be a pitcher's duel in St. Louis with Hauser's solid 24.8% K rate and 3.7 xFIP on the year. The park again will help pitchers out, and St. Louis couldn't generate runs in Coors this week, so it feels like a good time to be trusting Adrian Hauser. If Hauser gets blown up by a team who couldn't hit Chichi Gonzalez and and Antonio Senzatella, I'll be a bit disappointed. But either way, Hauser's at a good price point and he projects well as a value today. And now into our last corner of the one-offs on a guy I mentioned earlier, Manny Machado versus Jeff Hoffman is one I like a lot today. Machado is legitimately the only good power bat in San Diego's lineup, so even if they all can get to Hoffman's 1.8 whip and 268 ISO, Manny has the best shot for big production today. Machado's just a quality hitter at a reasonable price, and going against Jeff Hoffman at Coors is a spot you want your hitters to be in as much as possible. And Big Dan Vogelbach versus Dylan Covey also interests me as a one-off. Vogelbach is a 260 ISO and a 130 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching, while Covey's been hit hard by lefties with a 192 ISO and just a 17.7% K rate. A full Seattle stack may not get there, but Dan Vogelbach has enough power to get that production all for himself today as a one-off. And Mark Canha versus Brock Burke also interests me as a one-off. Chris Davis will be the value guy du jour, but Canha's cheap for the cleanup spot and a 276 ISO in Texas against the 203 ISO that Burke's allowed. Canha's nasty power and that Texas heat is a really good advantage for him against a guy in Burke who hasn't shown much in a limited sample size versus righties. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's lucky 13-game slate. So right now, please like this video. And if you want to win a free month of Osmo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. On Wednesday's slate, there were a bunch of double dongs, but only one guy got him correctly, and you can see him right here, Mark Guerrero. So Mark, email me at chris@osmo.com to collect your prize. And for everybody else out there, if you want to get your own free month of Osmo Plus, like this video and comment that double dong pick down below. And if you don't want to wait for Jason Voorhees himself to drive a machete into the ball and take it out of the park 2 times, you can also use this promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Get all the ownership projections and player projections. Get yourself an all-access pass and get both MLB and NFL data because it is NFL season right now, baby. So right now, use that promo code Switch and Hedge for half off your first month of Osmo Plus. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. There are no days off for me. I'm going to be doing content both tomorrow and Sunday for the NFL. So go follow me on Twitter and Instagram and get me a little sanity back by following me at Chris Spags. I'll be back on the deeper dive later today with Ship My Money. So go check us out right there as we go game by game, breaking them down with one of the smartest men in MLB analysis. I'll be back with you guys on Tuesday with another 4 corners. So thank you guys for watching and good luck.